What is up, guys? Welcome
on?
back to the Michael and Selah podcast. We're so glad you're here, and we are so glad to be here. I don't know about you, but it has felt like this past month has gone by so fast. It's so slow at the same time.
Yeah.
It's been kind of wild.
The days are slow, but everything else is going fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, we just wanted to come on here and update you guys on what's been happening in our lives. A lot of you guys have been know that we have been traveling, touring around, sharing our music, sharing our testimonies, and we kind of want to share the intricacies of what that's looked like in the past since our last podcast, which was actually 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So
we're slacking, but
yeah.
We're back.
We're trying.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say there's a lot of highs and there's a lot of lows. And usually it's low before it gets high, almost like it confirms that it's going to be high. I get a little bit of a low. Like, you guys might not know this, but every single time before we do a show or before I speak, we go through something, whether that's maybe me experiencing overwhelm, anxiety, or Selah having vertigo right before we get up there.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point sometimes we almost quit. We almost don't even do it. It's actually more me. She's so tough. She's like, no, we're doing this. And I'm just like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
You know? But every single time when we get up there and perform our talents, our gifts, and present the word, God always, every single time, has showed up.
Yeah, he shows up far beyond what we can imagine too. Like, it's always, I feel like the worse it is before, like the worse we feel before, the more the Lord shows up. And I think on one end, it's like us really getting to the place where we're like, Lord, we cannot do this without you. Like, you have to show up because we barely can. Like, all we can do is step onto this platform, and you're gonna have to do the rest, and really surrendering and allowing him to be strength in our weakness.
Totally.
Yeah, it's definitely been an adventure.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, when they're walking out their calling or their purpose and they get a little bit of pushback, they think, oh, that means I'm in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
And that's a lie from the devil. No, the devil is pushing you back because he doesn't want you walking in your calling and purpose. So that should be confirmation. Oh my gosh, this is hard. I'm in the right place. If you look at Jesus' ministry, 3 years of hard. And at the end, you want to talk about hard? He had to go to hell.
Yeah.
That's as hard as it possibly can get. But then 3 days later, he rose again. And that's what our faith is based on, that resurrection. So I encourage you, when things are hard, just know that something good is right around the corner. But have faith midst the storm.
Yeah. It's so funny because, like, walking into ministry, I think both of us were just, like, shocked by how much spiritual warfare there was. And, like, even being, like, I grew up as, like, a pastor's kid, ministry kid, all of the kids, and I would say I still was not prepared for just, like, all of the attacks coming from, it felt like all directions. It was, like, so overwhelming at certain points, and, like, definitely that's how the enemy gets us to question, like, are we doing what we're supposed to do? But being intentional to remember that, like, he attacks purpose.
He does.
And that he doesn't waste time.
And
so if he's spending it on you, there's intention behind that. I'd
also say he not only attacks, your purpose, but he attacks, your gifting in that purpose. We could go way back to when, Selah was supposed to get her jaw removed because she had this, benign tumor going on in there. And so that was attached with her gift.
Yeah.
But if you know the story, you know how the story goes. When they go in there to remove this benign tumor, to remove this part of her jaw, that tumor shrunk to the size of a pea overnight. So in what the enemy meant for evil, God's like, nah, I'm going to use it for my glory every single time. And it actually makes me think, why does the enemy continue to attack us? Because every single time, we're going to use it for God's glory every time, So, I know there's people out there that feel like they're losing. You're not, because we already won. 2,000 years ago, we took that W. We won.
Yeah.
So you can walk that out, and it doesn't matter how you're feeling. It doesn't matter how everything's going on all around you. It's what's inside of you. You already have the victory. The Holy Spirit dwells within you so you can have that peace. You can have that joy because you know God holds it all together, your purpose, your life, and he works out all things for good.
Yeah, that's really good. So let's like dive into it more, and kind of share what we've been doing for the past month, maybe some stories from that, what the Lord's been teaching us, all those things. Because you guys are probably hearing this and being like, wow, what did this past month hold for them? Definitely lots of hills and valleys, I would say, happening like at the same time, which is, I don't know if I've experienced that before, like really being in a space where it's like, this is like like a high, like I feel like I'm on a mountain with the Lord, but at the same time, like the spiritual warfare is like unmatched. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think we could talk about some of these churches we go into. So we actually go into churches or events and we go to them saying, hey, we'll do this for free. But whatever you feel like giving to us after we perform or speak, whatever you're feeling led to give,
Right.
Give it to us. And that's called a love offering.
Or an honorarium,
Or an honorarium. But I've noticed that in this love offering, there's a whole lot of love and little offering.
I was like, where's this going?
And it's hard to do things when you don't have money. So, and not only is it a little offering, but when we walk into these spaces, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little high maintenance. Selah's not, I'm a little high maintenance. And I'm walking into these scenarios where you might have to sleep on the ground. You might get not very good food for the remaining time that you're there.
Yes, this is true.
It adds these little things. And it's so funny so I'll tell you about this one spot we went to. It's me and my buddy Cam, and we're sleeping on an air mattress, which I don't know, maybe some people are like, dude, air mattresses are great. Okay, well, I did not grow up like that. And it was so funny that they gave us this little tiny heater. And they're like, hey, the room gets really cold. There's no heat in the room. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, well, obviously, they have the heater on in the church. Obviously. Who turns the heater off? Like this little heater, I don't want to get dried out. And so me and my buddy have, I don't know, a blanket on this, little air mattress. And keep in mind, that's two 200-pound guys on a twin air mattress. So It
wasn't a twin.
Okay.
It was like a full.
Okay.
Whatever. Twin?
Okay, sure.
They would not
full,
have
whatever,
fit. It was like a queen.
Okay. It was not a queen.
It was a full.
Whatever. We were snuggling.
They
for
were
sure.
cuddling.
So I wake up maybe, 5 a.m. in the morning, and I swear you not, it was 50.
Swear you not.
Yeah. It was 50 degrees in this room. And we even snuggled even tighter after that. But like just these little things that we have to go through that I was not anticipating. And I don't even know, I wouldn't call that spiritual warfare at all. I would just say that that's just part of ministry that I'm not used to. I'm used to having like them waiting for me hand and foot. And honestly, that's because my parents are so loving. Maybe they just babied me my entire life. But I couldn't fathom that, I have to eat sloppy joes for like the entire weekend.
Guys, he's not used to camp food. He was struggling. He was like, we got to leave right now. Oh my goodness. Well, also, I think one thing that has surprised me, and I have been in ministry, my parents have been in ministry my whole life, I think was just like the lack of communication was the hardest thing. Because it's like, if you tell us beforehand, like, hey, like, you're going to sleep on the floor, these are going to be the accommodations, that we could better prepare, right? Like, we would have brought like stuff for us to sleep with, but like it's the day before and we're just finding out, we're like, oh.
Because then in my head, when I don't get these things of hospitality, in my head, I'm thinking I'm not welcome. Because when you come into my home, I'm going to make it seem like this is your house, mi casa, su casa. You know what I'm saying? My house is your house, okay? And I'm coming into these spaces and they're treating me like this isn't your house.
Yeah.
So figure it out. I don't feel welcomed. And I feel honestly like that little pushback in my mind. And so this one particular show, I felt this so negative feeling of they don't even want me here. And I went all the way from Florida to, I'm not even going to say what it was, but I went very far. I went to the Midwest, and I did not feel welcomed. And I literally broke down. I literally broke down. I was feeling overwhelmed, like I amounted to nothing. Like this is all just a waste. And I'm crying, and
I'm throwing up.
Oh yeah, she was having vertigo.
I like walk in and I'm about to tell him I'm sick, and I didn't know what you and Cam had been talking about when I walked in. And yeah, it was definitely one of those moments where it's like, okay, like we're like really doing this. Like we're like really feeling the weight of what's happening.
And so I say, Selah, call your dad. Because her dad, he's been a traveling pastor. He's been doing this for decades. Call your dad. So he gets on the phone. He's like,
why do you make that face?
He's like, you're feeling like you amount to nothing. I was like, yeah. He's like, you're feeling you don't have what it takes. And I was like, yeah. And like my tears are running down my face. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, good. This is what ministry is. Like, he's like, welcome to the battle. And I'm like, whoa. So I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
All these moments where I feel like I was going crazy, anxiety, overwhelm, it's all part of it. Glory to God. Mm-hmm. And he said, at the end of you, that's when God shows up. Like when I'm at the end of my rope, God's like, I'm right here. And in my weakness, I let God move. And so we did the show. It's so funny that after the first song, Selah's vertigo went away. You're going to call that a coincidence?
Yeah.
And some people are like, oh, they're probably nervous to perform. Yeah, we don't get nervous to perform. Like that's not it at all. Like I'm not nervous to even talk in front of a camera for 30 minutes or however. We didn't even plan this.
Right.
You know what I mean? We planned to get in front of a camera. We're not. This is free flowing. I'm freestyling right here. So that's not it at all. Like these pushbacks, it's a force you can't even see what's really going on, you know? But we got up there.
Mm-hmm. We did.
And I didn't think we did that good.
There are some times when we do things and I'm like really feeling it. Like I'm fired up. I'm going on the stage. I'm like giving it all I got. And I would say that this was not one of those. Like I was like, I'm going up here and I'm just like literally walking in obedience. Like, Lord, you've called us to do this. Like, I'm going to worship you. Like, I'm just going to worship you right now and pray that you move tangibly in this room. Like, I feel sick. I feel terrible. So it definitely like was one of those times where I had to realize like I can't just go off of my feelings. Right. Like I literally just need to rely on the Holy Spirit and on the one who called us to do what we're doing. Yep. And it's so funny because people were like, wow, the Lord was in the room. Like that was one of you guys' best performances yet. Yeah. And it was so funny because
like, that's the best we've ever seen. Your message was unbelievable. You guys sound like even 10 times better than on Spotify, whatever they were saying. Like, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, guys, if you had seen us 5 minutes before, you would have not known what was going on. Like,
and I mean, Cam was keeping us together.
He was holding down the fort.
He was trying to figure out, man, what are these people going through? He's like, bro, chill out. It's okay.
If we're new to ministry, he's extremely new to ministry. So he's like, what is going on with them? Yeah.
But I think that was the first time when I was performing, I was truly worshiping because I was just mentally just going through it. So when I was like, I'm tired of religion, I'm tired of division, I'm tired of the people talking on my vision.
Live performance?
And I mean, yeah, live. I don't even want to know how that sounded. But I was like giving my all. I didn't even care about anybody in the, watching us. Like I was like, God, this is for you. Show up in my weakness.
Yeah.
And whoa, he did. And he keeps on doing that. So, yeah, that's just one story of, wanting to quit. I really, really did not want to do it. I was, it was not in. I can only imagine how vertigo felt. In the name of Jesus, let that never happen to me because...
I thought he was going to say, I hope that never happens to you again. He said, let that never happen to me.
Well, she can handle things. I feel like, yeah. Usually the guy's a tougher one in the relationship, and I'd actually say Selah is one of the toughest people, not women, toughest people I've ever met. And yeah, I gotta get my game up. Yeah, I gotta get tougher.
I think we're just tough in different ways.
Okay.
Why do you look like you had to think about it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, well, what's a moment where I have been tougher than you? Actually, you know what? I got one. When we're making songs, so in my head, it's like when I start a song, when I step in the studio, I finish a song, like literally that day. And I would have to say 99% of artists are like, oh, I gotta marinate this song. I gotta marinate in this song for a few months. I gotta feel this one out, and then like, oh, then we're good. But I'm like, no, I step in the studio, I'm walking out with a song. Like I'm walking out, I'm going to my car, I'm plugging it into the speaker, I'm gonna hear it out in my car as if I just released it. Like I wanna do things quick, and I don't think she is used to that.
I was not. Guys, I literally met him, he asked me to hop on this song, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like I'm thinking, well, you kind of already done some of the songs, so that maybe helped a little bit. But yeah. I remember there was one point where, you know, like we're writing it and like editing, or he's I don't do the producing stuff. He's doing things, and I was like, why don't we just take a break? I remember saying that. I was like, we could just take a little break, get a snack. He was like, no, we're finishing this before we leave this room.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay.
But most
it gets things done.
Most people can't handle that. And I'm also a perfectionist that's super intense. And my mom always calls me Gordon Ramsay because of how much I might flip out on you if you don't do things perfect. And she can handle it like really well, which is crazy. I can barely handle myself when I'm so hard on myself. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I feel like, this is what I say. I feel like he has reasonable crash outs. Like everything, if he like has high emotion about something, it deserves high emotion. Yeah, I'm like that's valid.
When CJ, he didn't have my Subway sandwich.
Oh, guys, we have a story for you. No, you have to tell the before. So we went to this camp, right? And like they were like, "Do you guys want lunch?" All this stuff, and so we sent them our orders and all these things, and you know.
So here's what I said. I said, you know what? Since the accommodations aren't to my par, right? Yeah, I'm like, you know what?
He's like,
I need to start setting my standards low, not on God, on people. So here's my standard. My standard is I'm gonna get a cold, wet sub.
He's like, and it's gonna be great. And I'm already expecting it.
I'm expecting this cold sandwich. So long story short, the CJ guy, shout out CJ. We got to hang out.
We
love
with this you.
Guy,
yeah, it was great.
And his daughter Nadia. We got to MC a whole weekend together. It was really cool. And he gets back. He's like, guys, I got good news and bad news. I was like, okay. Bad news, there's no sandwiches.
He's like, yeah, they ordered everyone's sandwich but ours.
They ordered everybody's sandwich but ours. And he's like, good news? Actually, I don't even remember the good news.
He said, good news, we can run out and get you more food.
Yeah.
And so he goes,
he's like, he's like, you can wait until 5 to eat.
Yeah. He's like, they're having like pasta from the cafe or from the cafeteria. Let me tell you guys.
Yeah. No.
This is like middle school lunch pasta. Like not like not like good pasta.
No.
We're not going to Olive Garden. No. This is like slop.
I was like, well, obviously I want to eat now. He's like, well, that's going to be an hour turnaround.
He said, yeah, it's probably going to take an hour for the food to come because he's thinking, oh, like we'll just run out and get food real fast. We're in the middle of nowhere with no service on our phones. And
But in my head, when he says, oh, it's going to be an hour turnaround to get this food, I thought, oh, so you're inconvenienced. Oh, okay. You know what? I'm going to fast. I'm going to fast the entire day.
So we're all just sitting there. And I said, I'm about to look up the places, tell him where to go. And before I could do that, he's like, you know what?
Fasting.
We'll just fast. I said, we.
Oh, yeah, I threw her in that fast.
I was like, I'm not
Yeah, that was my
I was more upset.
Crash out.
Yeah,
that was my crash out.
Yeah, he's like, we'll just fast. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then I was like, come here.
Yeah, we ended up working out.
I was like, we're getting food right now. That's insane.
Yeah, you guys are probably listening like, man, this guy, he needs to get it together. But no, I have my crash outs, but she's able to, man, you're able to be like, hey, it's okay. you're gonna get food.
Like, everything's fine. Just give me my food.
Okay. And I'm like, I know it's okay. I don't know why. I just flipped out on CJ about not getting my sandwich. Oh my God.
So we're sorry, CJ. We're hangry. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of what January has looked like for us. We started off the new year. We went to Chicago and just hung out with Vaughn's family, and that was a blast. And then from there, we went to a conference, which was also a blast. And we got to also do something at the church at the conference separate from that. And so you actually got to do a message you'd never done before there.
Right. Yeah, I did a message on your why. And your why is your purpose, right? And so I got to talk about that and talked about the story of Jonah, and it went really well. But here's a question for you guys. For people who go to church, maybe are in youth group, is saying pissed?
Why do you say it with such emphasis? You're like, pissed.
Is saying pissed a bad thing to say while preaching? Now, let me tell you the backstory. Oh. So, I was preaching about Jonah and how when God gave favor to the Ninevites, Jonah was pissed. And
Deadpan look at the camera.
And everybody's like,
okay, wait, keep in mind, this is middle school and high schoolers.
Okay, hold on. Let me get
in hillbilly town in Indiana.
Let me get to my story here. Yep, whatever. That's fine. And and I say, Jonah was pissed. By the way, in the Bible, when you read, Jonah was so pissed that he wanted to die. He'd rather die than live.
It does say that.
It says that. And I'm thinking, ticked? Mad? No, he was pissed. And I look at everybody and I say, have you been pissed? And everybody's like, yeah, I have been pissed. Gosh, he's right. And so when I grew up, that's not a bad, even now, I can't even fathom that that's a bad word, but I didn't grow up like some people. And so long story short, I thought the sermon went great. Nobody said anything. I get a call from, shout out Kelvin. He gives me a call. He might have thought I was mad on the phone. But yeah, he said, dude, you can't be saying peed off. And I was like, peed off? What the heck does that, peed off? Pissed? And he's like, yeah, you can't say that on the whatever. And yeah, we worked it out. But
can you tell that we grew up different? Like, I'm like pastor's kid. Like, he says pissed in his sermon, right? And I'm like, oh, that might be a little problem. But, you know, if they let us slide, whatever, like.
And, yeah, it's just so funny. But I want to hear what you guys think.
Yeah.
Some of you guys are going to be like, heck.
Guys, drop some comments. Let us know.
No,
and let us know other words you think shouldn't be.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Because I told, this other person in ministry and then also my parents, and they're like, no, I don't think that's a bad word.
Yeah.
But
also, I feel like it's one of those, like, church bad words. Like, right. I feel like it's not, I don't know, this is my opinion, but I feel like it's not negative to say it, like, in a regular context, but, like, maybe from a platform, like, in front of certain audiences, you might want to.
Yeah. But, okay, actually, I'm going to finish this story.
Oh, gosh.
Because I was, in that moment, ticked off. Maybe give a little more emphasis. I was ticked off, if you know what I mean. I'm just using that word because I don't want to use the other word. And so,
even though we said it 6 times already.
Kelvin, he calls me. I don't even know if you're going to watch this.
We love you, Kelvin.
Yeah, hey, don't use this word. And I said, you know what? I am pissed.
Guys, I'm listening to this phone call, like, trying to be quiet, and, like, and Kelvin wasn't even talking about that. No. He said, don't say it in front of the kids. He said, I don't care if you say it. Don't say it in front of the kids. And I was like...
I literally inserted myself as Jonah, as if I was Jonah. I am pissed. And yeah, Kelvin's like, oh, okay.
It's like, that's really not on topic.
And,
but
man, we're having a lot of stories of me crashing out.
This can be titled Vaughn's Reasonable Crash Outs.
Yeah, right. What to do when you crash out? I guess I haven't talked to Kelvin since then, so hopefully he's not mad at me.
Besties.
Maybe I'll talk to him after this. But it's just so funny. But yeah, we love to share these like little stories with you guys because I feel like I'm a very emotional person, and sometimes I'd say the devil definitely uses my emotions to just maybe get in my own head. You know what I mean? because I am an emotional person. It's actually funny. The more I walk with Christ, the more emotional I become. It's just a matter of controlling those emotions. Like I'll be somebody who cries, and I used to not be a crier.
Yeah.
Like we were just hanging out with some students doing a little group, little session. There's like 20 kids, and I just start crying, talking about them, talking to them about peace. And I just start crying. So it's just funny.
Yeah. Speaking of that, wait, I feel like that was like
That was a high moment.
that was like probably one of my favorite moments of this month, maybe.
Yeah.
So we went to this camp. Vaughn was the MC. I was on the worship team. And together we got to do a seminar on peace.
Yep.
And so I don't know if you guys know, but usually when we're traveling, he'll do a message about fear. And so I felt like they were doing seminars on the fruits of the spirit. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to choose peace, right? Because this is what we talk about. Like literally 50% or more of our generation is plagued with anxiety and depression and all these different things. And like we feel passionate about it because we've experienced it. And so we did this seminar, and I feel like that was one of the highlights for me, just we both got to share our testimonies and share how the Lord has been the Prince of Peace to us in moments where the outside situation was extremely chaotic, and just seeing these students, like high school students, open up and share like, this is what I've gone through. These are the things I've struggled with. Like, this is how the Lord has been my peace, or this is how I want to experience the Lord, like be my peace. I'm in a chaotic situation right now, and like getting to talk to them and get to know them.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was amazing. Yeah.
That was cool. Because a lot of people are chasing this being peaceful. But there's a difference between being peaceful and having peace. Peaceful is exterior. Peace is internal.
Yeah.
I can have peace knowing my God holds my life in his hands. But at the same time, I could be going through anxiety because I'm scared about what my future holds.
Right.
But I still have peace internally, knowing my God is going to work all things out for good.
Yeah. And so we got to like sit with these kids, and they created affirmations for themselves in moments where it's like, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm feeling depression. This is like what I feel, but this is who God is. And so this is what I can experience in this moment. And it was super
breakthrough.
Yeah. And kids opened up and were like, I'm dealing with fear. We got to pray over them. And yeah, that was definitely a high of that event for sure. And just, building that community. So.
No, it was amazing. And, shout out to our donors. We actually have donors who, help us to continue doing this ministry. Because like I said before, we're going to these churches and there's a whole lot of love, but there's little offering.
Yeah.
But it's okay because people are helping us out. People are actually donating to us and believe what we're doing, so we're able to fly across the country. It's already paid for.
Yeah.
God is working it out. So shout out to you guys. And we would not be able to do what we're doing without your help.
Absolutely not, yeah.
And if you're watching this and God's kind of tugging at your heart to say, hey, give him $1 a month, I don't know. Lean in.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm not telling you you have to give. God is going to work it out. God's going to give us some money. He always does.
Yeah.
Miracles upon miracles upon miracles. Every single day I look at my bank account. I'm like, oh, Lord Jesus, please somehow fill my bank account.
Yeah, we've watched the Lord provide for us in every moment of obedience, and a lot of it has been through you guys. And so, yeah, it's been cool to see how many people believe in what we're doing and have furthered what we're doing and allowed us to continue to do what we're doing. So, yeah.
Because a lot of people, especially these churches, they think, maybe after we performed, they think we made it. Like we're millionaires.
Which is funny because what does made it mean? Like, I feel like so many people tell us that, or they'd be like, we thought this or we thought that. And I'm like, what is that? I don't know. What does that mean?
Yeah, like they think we're famous. Kids are asking for autographs or whatever it is, and they think we have a lot of money, and they think we're almost like donating our time when we show up to these churches. But we're like, wait, hold on. No. This is our career. This is what we're doing. This is a part of what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I guess we just need to, I guess, clarify that, hey, this is how we make a living. I mean, I thought that's maybe what people understand, but I didn't understand that. But that's okay. But either way, it always works out. It always works out. We always have the money. I always have a meal. I always have shelter. It's, it's like that one verse, Matthew 6:26, look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them.
Yeah.
Right? Why am I worrying about the things that I might not have, or worried about the things I might not have in the future? It's like, if God provides for the animals, he will provide for me.
Yeah, so good.
And I can have peace in that, right? I can have joy in that. My Father always gives me what I need, not always what I want. Because if he starts giving me what I want, it wouldn't be looking good for me, because I'm not really good at wanting the right thing.
Yeah. That's good. The Lord's been faithful to us. And
yeah, he has.
We're so glad that we get to bring you guys on some of the journeys and the stories that we've experienced in this past month. And it's been really cool to just see how the Lord has opened doors. We've gone to, I guess, like 2 conferences at this point. February is looking really exciting for us. We get to go to Juvie, actually, and we're super stoked about that. The Lord has just been opening doors, and we're excited to see how he continues to do so.
Yeah.
And
I think one that's this weekend is the South Florida Fair.
Yeah, we're excited.
So
it's a big
lot of people
deal.
that are going to be watching are like not believers, and we get 15 minutes to shine, or I could say God gets 15 minutes to shine through us.
Yeah.
To minister and impact Gen Z all the way up to, I don't know who's going to be there, but it's going to be awesome for them to hear our message.
Yeah. We're super excited about that. And we'll definitely update you guys on how that went. I'm trying to think, are we missing anything that we did? We've been everywhere, guys. I think I've been on 6 flights this month, like 8, something like that. We've been traveling.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on in Atlanta, but the turbulence is so bad, and I'm somebody who doesn't like to fly.
Neither of us like flying. Every time there's turbulence, we're like, this is the end.
We're going sideways, up and down through the air, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like we might need to get.
I'm like, guys, we're gonna start caravanning.
We actually might be getting a van, so we might be pulling up to your church in a minivan. That might happen. Because I really don't like flying, and it's really expensive. So we can save a lot
and
of
it's
money.
nice for us to be able to bring our different things. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we had a studio on the road?
Start making music on the road. That could be day 1 as an artist, making music in my van.
Writing a song in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Guys, I also have a question. It's been plaguing me this whole podcast. You guys are ready for this?
I'm ready. I don't know what this question is.
Oh, you'll know it when I say it. Okay. All right? Guys.
Oh, no, I know what it is. Never mind.
Does black and brown go together?
Oh, my. Okay. Okay.
Listen.
Okay, no.
This kid keeps trying to wear black and brown, and I'm like, sometimes it works. Like, I'm not going to say it doesn't work any of the time.
Okay.
But it doesn't work most of the time.
So, things that don't work,
he likes to wear.
No. See, when it seems there's no way,
okay,
God makes a way, right? When the Wright brothers were trying to fly a plane, everybody's like, plane? What is that? So people are going to fly in the air?
So you think that you're creating a fad right now?
It's not until they got in the air and they started flying. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, obviously. Yeah, they were right.
Guys, he thinks
so
he's
when you
swaggy.
see black and brown, just know that it started with me, okay? And people are going to
and all the other brothers who don't know how to dress.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But it seems
it's
like
my one thing. He's swaggy, guys. Like I think that he's very swaggy.
Even right now. You know what they say? They say that your biggest haters are probably the people closest to you. And that's what's going on.
Okay, yeah. Okay. That was kind of a sidebar, but it was like on my mind, guys. I was really bothered.
Okay, that's the second question. Does black and brown go together? It does go together. Okay.
What's the first question?
The first question was, is pissed a bad word to use while you're preaching?
We need you guys to drop a lot of comments and to let us know.
Yeah. And then like maybe one person will be like, say something, but they didn't even get to the question. They're like, fire emoji, as if they listened. Like my dad will put fire emoji, and I'll be like, you didn't listen. So I'll know if you listened if you answered one of those questions.
Dang! Wow! Dang. Call them out, would you?
Shoot.
Yeah. Well,
I'll just spam the comments. Brown and black. That's fire. Yes, piss is okay to say in a sermon.
That's insane. Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm really judging right now. I need the Lord to. Okay. You know what? Your outfit looks really decent.
Get that hand off my brown pants. If you're gonna hate, don't be touching them.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's funny.
It's been a month. It's been really fun. What would you say is one word that describes this past month of traveling and doing stuff for you?
First word that came to my head was grateful. Grateful for the highs, grateful for the lows, grateful for the accommodations just being not very good. But it's cool because now we can tell stories. Yeah. We can laugh about it. We can be, oh my gosh, we're sleeping on the ground. The cement, or like the bed wasn't even long enough in that cabin, and I had to put my pillow on the wood. The bed was short. Yeah, I had to put my head on the wood. And yeah, I mean, but it's funny looking back on it, Oh my gosh, that mac and cheese had to have been a month old,
Yeah. And it's like in the moment, like there's these little things that are aggravating, but you're like, it's so worth it. Like to see like these children or students impacted by Jesus and experience him tangibly, like I'll sleep on the floor. Like who cares? I'll eat. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So
Acts 20:24, I consider my life worth nothing to me. My only aim is to finish this race that God has given me. And I truly have to continue looking at that verse because it's not about me. It's about everybody else and God's purpose that he's put on my life.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I think my word is stretching.
Oh
yeah.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Actually, you want to switch words? That feels like my word.
I think just like being in this place where like as a ministry kid, you experience ministry, but like the edited version in a way because my parents were the ones going through all of this and then like they organized everything for us. So I didn't really like experience like the unorganization or like the chaos of ministry because they like sifted through that first and then like kind of told us what we were doing and like I knew where to be, like I knew all the things that are like have been difficult for me in the past month, they like did for me. Now I'm learning how to do it on my own and what that looks like and like how to be unfazed in certain scenarios and like all these different things. And it's definitely been stretching. And I think even like,
stretching is a good word for this season. And I would also say stretching goes right along with being refined. And I think we're being refined very much. And I also got to, because I put myself on such a pedestal. And I feel like people put me on a pedestal of like, oh, he's got it all figured out because he's the Christian rapper and he preaches and, he's been healed by anxiety and, he lives in perfection. And I want to let you know, one, I still deal with anxiety while speaking about being freed from anxiety. Okay. And two, I am so far from perfect. I am a sinner, and I am messing up day in, day out. Don't hold me on a pedestal. Don't do it. I would say don't hold any of your pastors on this ginormous pedestal. We're all in the same boat here. Even Paul said, hey, I have a thorn in my flesh. I don't know what that thorn in his flesh was, but I'm thinking it could have been a sin. And it's like, life is hard. Life is really hard, and to step away, to flee from sin, that's hard. Yeah. To break free from an anxiety, to break generational curses, it's hard. But just know that Jesus died on the cross for all of that. Yeah. So I can rest in that. rest in my salvation is paid for. So it doesn't matter anything I do, anything I don't do. It's all paid for.
Yeah, I like that you said that. It's so funny because I feel like people like always compliment us on the things that we're like still sifting through and learning. It's so funny. Like even people will be like, wow, it's so cool that you guys are like dating and in ministry and like navigating it so well. It's like we're learning how to navigate that. Like every like dynamic we're learning how to navigate, like traveling, like all of this different stuff. Like we're learning, and like I don't know what you guys see, but just know like we're sifting through it. We're going to the Lord and we're asking him to refine us and to teach us. And
he's got to refine us so hard that we're like, you know what? We got to take a 21-day fast from kissing. Because guess what? Being pure is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's rewarding, I can guarantee. But we were like, we got to take 21 days.
Yeah.
Guys, be praying for us.
Yeah.
Because right now it doesn't feel like I'm going to last 21 days, but that's okay. That's okay. We're really close. How many days is there to go? Or I kind of purposely forgot. Okay. I purposely forgot
less than that.
Purposely forgot what day we are on, because I was like, well, maybe she'll think it's 21 days. But you know, it's hard. It's hard to be pure. You know, it's hard to be pure in this partnership. And you know, people want to sleep around, you know, strangers, you know, with strangers, and they think that that's where life is or something. You know, I used to think that.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee, if you're watching, stay pure.
Yeah.
Stay pure. It's so rewarding.
It's so worth it. Yeah. And we even know, like, in being pure, that will trickle into our ministry and everything else we do, you know? And like one thing that is really cool is that we get to sift through this, and students get to watch us sift through what a dating relationship looks like in ministry. Because I think a lot of times, like we've talked about this, like a lot of times all students see is like, oh, like they're dating for like 5 seconds, and then they just see like marriage, like godly marriage in ministry. And so we kind of get to exemplify a different aspect of that and sift through it ourselves. And it's definitely been a journey, but something I would never trade. And just like how the Lord has been so tangible to both of us and helped us like with our convictions and all these different things to walk in purity and to honor each other. Amen. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to emphasize this. It's really, really hard. So don't feel alone.
Yeah.
Hey, reach out to us. Say, hey, I'm really struggling with this. Well, maybe it's anxiety. Well, maybe it's being pure. I don't know. Life is hard.
Yeah.
But doing life alone is even harder.
Yeah.
You know, so I think this year, I think I'm going to continue expressing how imperfect I am because I struggle with perfection. So I'm going to tell you guys all the time, hey, I am just a wretched sinner.
Yeah.
But thank God that Jesus showed up.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're imperfect, but we get to point to a perfect God.
Amen.
And I think in our inadequacies, it highlights who he is even more and how strong his character is in our weakness. And so I'm okay with saying I'm not perfect. I don't have it all together, and I never will be perfect, but I serve a perfect Father, and you do too. Amen. And so you get to experience his character even in the lack thereof in us. So, Amen. Yeah.
And I think on that note, I think we want to wrap that up. And guys, we are just so grateful that you get to come on this journey, and so grateful that wherever God takes us, he is with us and his favor rests with us. And I want to let you know that you also can walk in alignment with God and purpose. Like you have you are made on purpose, for a purpose, by a creator, by a master, and you're the masterpiece.
Yeah, so good.
So,
yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
We love you guys, and hopefully it won't be 2 more months until you see us again. Yep. It'll be February.
Yeah, I'm you guys could be like, hey, happy birthday to both of us.
Yeah, we both have February birthdays. So, yeah, we're excited to update you again, and thanks for tuning in.
See you guys.
We'll see you guys.